It's Breakfast Radio. Neil, Sam, Jane, Johnny Nash. And I can see clearly now, 9 minutes after 9 o'clock.
The question on Zoomer Radio's Facebook page was, are you doing renovations? Have you done renovations? Do you have a horror story about, choosing the wrong contractor? Or have you got some good stories? We've got some questions that we're going to ask our special guest. And it seems like everybody has a renovation or home horror story.
Right? And you can't listen to Zoomer Radio for longer than like 3 or 4 minutes without hearing how excited and happy Eva D is with her choice, our friends over at Royal Home Improvements. Mm-hmm. And Paul Napolitano is here. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had, as I like to say. So listen, the reason this entire conversation got sparked in the first place is because Sam is about to take on a whole pile of work at her place. Mm-hmm. And I looked at her and I said, so who are you talking to about this? And then that inevitable conversation comes up about who do you call? What do you look for? What's the process? What's the criteria for selecting the right people? All of that stuff.
Boy, I hate spending money. Can I just put it out there? It's the reason we haven't renovated. We've been in our house 25 years, and this is really the first renovation, and I would say maybe 20. So I put the question out to everybody on Facebook, and I got some good questions back. You want to hear? Can we throw a few at you, Paul?
Please do.
Okay. So Marilyn in Oakville is at the very beginning of her renovation journey, and she writes and says, I know nothing about the renovation business, and I'm worried that I'm going to get taken for a ride by shady contractors. Is there a criteria for weeding out the bad ones from the good ones?
There certainly is. The first thing you want to start with is longevity, how long they've been in business, and then check their credential packages. Make sure that they carry $5 million liability insurance. Make sure that their whole team is covered with WSIB premiums. Make sure that they're members of the National Kitchen and Bath Association. They carry a license depending on the municipality that you live in. And you want to make sure that you have we're members of BUILD. So it used to be the Greater Toronto Home Builders Association. Now it's BUILD, B-I-L-D, and it takes care of all renovations, not only new homes.
Wow.
Okay, so and if someone is getting a whole bunch of estimates, because that's probably the best way to go, you don't necessarily go with the first contractor that you talk to, or maybe you do. But if I'm getting 3 or 4 or 5 estimates, or even just 1 or 2, and I don't have a ton of money to spend, is it okay to go with the cheapest estimate, or what do you recommend? Like, is cheap the way to go, or?
One of the things that I say, I could have 3 of my representatives come down and give an estimate on the same project, and they very well might get 3 different estimates. It's depending on what has transpired and what you're talking about in regards to what you want. So it's very important to get it in writing. Be clear of what they're doing, what they're not doing.
Yep.
So in addition to checking all of this that you're talking about with the $5 million in liability and all of these, are they members of this? Are they members of that? Is there value sometimes with a home renovation in seeing something that you like at a friend's place, a neighbor's place, at an open house or something, and going to the person and going, who did this for you? Is there value in that?
There certainly is. Check out the references. Go see their work. Talk to their past clients. Ask them about a problem job. Everyone's going to have a problem. It's how they solve that problem that'll make sure whether you're going to get a rate rental or not.
So if we wanted projects done this summer, anybody who's looking to get a project done this summer, should they have been thinking about it last fall, or is it okay to start thinking about it now? Like, what's the timeline for getting stuff done?
Depending on the style of job, for example, if there's permits involved, let's say it's an addition, that can take several months to get, so you really want to do it in advance. And my advice to anyone thinking of an addition in the near future or down the road is get the permit process out of the way and the design process out of the way, then you can decide when you want to build.
Oh, why? Because that's super time consuming?
That is the biggest time consuming period, is getting your permits and your plans and everything approved.
Right. Okay, I'm going to go back to Facebook. Oh, Ian in Newmarket is asking, what about payment? Do contractors expect part of the payment up front? And when should the final payment be made? Should I be holding back any money until the job's done?
You certainly should hold back at least 10% for 45 days, which is a lean period at the end, and that'll give time to see if there's any deficiencies or if the contractor didn't pay his suppliers, etc. So you always want to have a nice spelt out payment term. And an easy rule of thumb is 10 equal payments at 10% with a 45-day holdback at the end.
Well, okay.
Wow.
And let me pick up on that thread for a second, because you say 45 days for that
Yeah.
last 10%. What recourse do people have? Because I think this is a thing that a lot of people don't know. What recourse do I have if I have called someone and, they weren't up to, for example, your level, and after they've packed up the trucks and driven away, I realized that, they didn't do it the way they said they were going to do it, or it fell apart 6 weeks later, or whatever. What are my options then?
Well, holding that 10% helps. Also, making sure that they're licensed. So if they're licensed by the City of Toronto, you always have the building department to call up and complain to and say, hey, listen, I had a contractor out here and this wasn't done properly. Can you come out and take a look at it or explain it? And also, with having those credentials, such as being a member of BUILD, you could call into these agencies and associations, and there's a body in there that'll make sure that it's followed through for you.
Okay, so the takeaway today, if you're planning renovation work, for me anyway, it was definitely get a contractor who's insured, who's licensed. A contract is key, and it should be spelled out very specifically what you want, and there should also be a payment plan rolled into that, so everybody's on the same page about how much you're paying up front, how much you're holding off until 45 days after the end, which I think is awesome, and then what the payment plan is through the project. Anything else that you see as a big headline that maybe people who are about to do some renovation work should be thinking about?
Probably the most important thing, especially if we're talking, say, a kitchen or a bathroom.
Yeah.
You want to have, and let's say the contractor is going to supply the finished product, like the plumbing fixtures, the electrical fixtures, the cabinetry. You want to know what you're getting. So you need to have what we would call a purchase allowance that would tell you how much per square foot you could shop for tiles, how much they're allowing to buy the bathtub. And then if they're saying, contractor to supply, but you don't know the quality you're getting, that can be troublesome.
Yeah, overpaying, right? Spending beyond your budget. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Paul.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I mean, it's a case where if we were going to talk about this, we wanted to get some info from the smartest person we know.
Yes.
So thanks for coming and doing this.
Yes.
Fastest way to pick your brain for people to get a hold of you?
If they give us a call at 416-236-4400, or they could also email us at royalhomeimprovements.ca.
There you go.
Excellent. Thanks, Paul. Woo, 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 woo.
If you haven't been spoiled enough at Tasco, we're bringing back our mystery envelope event. Visit any Tasco this Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and you'll get to open a